welcome to Two Gray Goatees and a Whistle. I'm your host, Coach Huddy, and today I got a special guest, Kelley, or Kells, aka my daughter, who's going to join us. Say hi. Yeah, she's going to join us today. This is a kind of a father-daughter episode. In this podcast or episode, we are going to discuss your experience playing softball when you were in high school, and you played a little bit of travel ball. And this will lead on to later on our next episode where we'll kind of talk about youth sports in general versus abroad. So I kind of want to touch on that real quick, highlight that, and then we'll go from there. So one of the things that I wanted is about this is that this emphasis going on here is how differences between how youth sports are played in the United States versus globally, especially in Europe, and how travel balls kind of become this thing in baseball, softball, basketball, soccer. It's all different types of volleyball. All different types of sports are doing travel leagues. And one of the things is how funding is done and the culture and busting some myths and stuff like that. So one thing I want to talk about before we get into us is in the United States, youth sports are often revolved around a school system, right? Friday night lights for football, high school gyms for volleyball, basketball. And that's usually built into our culture in the United States, right? And we know it's different in other countries. We had a foreign exchange student living with us.
She was so clueless on everything.
Yeah, and she was
crazy.
Yeah, and so
see the difference.
Yeah, sports weren't on competition like it is here.
Oh yeah.
So for her, it was a little bit different shock for her. But I think. And that's just was one small sample. It's her country, and other places are a little bit different too. But overall, we look at that most European countries, it's different. Youth sports are run by usually by community clubs, often have no connection to schools. They focus on long-term development rather than just trying to get to win. It's all about development. And one stat in the U.S. that 56% of parents worry that avoiding youth sports, so it comes down to money. Meanwhile, in Europe, many programs are government subsidized, aim to include everyone. So even if you don't play travel ball, it can be expensive in high school. Where we grew up here in Idaho, in our school, it was relatively cheap. Over in Oregon, you might pay $100 to $200 per sport. It's a lot of money, and I think in other places it's might be that much or more. And so that right there can discourage some parents not wanting to pay money.
It's sad to think that, but yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. And that's just high school. We get into travel ball, that could be thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, just to do travel ball. So, looking at that is a topic, I think, that is something that is becoming more and more of a thing. And in this pay-to-play system, you get these elite travel teams, can run parents several thousands of dollars. This includes equipment, hotels, gas. That might not even be included in that. And so vacations, for them might not be something.
But a lot of that money also goes to the jerseys, the equipment, everything. That's what the majority of that goes to, though.
It does, and it pays the fees for the tournaments. And these tournaments, charge $250 to $500 a team, and then on top of that, even though there's been money paid to the tournament, some tournaments charge the parents to come watch on top of that. So it's a little crazy. So I want to talk more about your experience, though, and we'll kind of touch a little bit on travel ball because I don't want to seem like a hypocrite because you did play travel ball, but it wasn't as extreme.
No, not as from watching other girls on my teams and everything else in high school. What they went through, what I went through is totally different.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? And so explain who you are and and we're going to talk strictly more about softball because that was like your wheelhouse, even though you did some other sports and you can talk about those if you want to, but let's talk about softball because the connection there is that I was kind of a part of that. And that's kind of part of this episode too, is being a parent and having a son or daughter. So go ahead, tell us about yourself.
I'm Kelley. I played softball since I was like 5 or 6 years old. I mean, I've been in the sport for forever. Still love the sport to death. I mean, I want to be a coach someday just to help other kids love the sport. I mean, I played soccer as well. I played volleyball, basketball, pretty much every sport. I always wanted to try football and wrestling, but you never let me.
Yeah, and I've coached girls that played football, and I think I really wish they would have had like flag football and stuff like that, or I wish we would have had rugby. I think you would have dominated rugby.
Oh, dude. I mean, I dominated in soccer, just defense wise. I mean, Thompson always
crushed
pulled
it.
me.
I mean, in soccer, you're like a middle linebacker, and these little girls were like strikers and forwards.
I mean, I was aggressive though. I mean, I was always colliding with people. Anytime we had like these dummies for like the football people when you tackle like practice.
Yeah.
And I would be beast with those things. Thompson was like, I think you're in the wrong sport. I think you need to be your closest.
That's one thing I wish it could have happened a little bit more, but it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, roller derby pretty much so you're up your wheelhouse too.
If I knew how to roller skate, I think it would have been amazing.
So let's talk about a little bit more about softball. And so you kind of explained when you started, you're 5 or 6.
Yeah, I was pretty young.
You're playing little t-ball and then coach pitch and stuff like that. And me and your mom are involved in that in some capacity. And
pretty much my whole life.
Yeah.
For coaches here and there.
Yeah. There are some times that I stepped away and, and
his mom would be there, or Laura, or
your aunt. Yeah. So what kind of made you fall in love with, we'll say softball, or just sports in general, if you want to talk? Is there your love of sports? Where did that come from? What was, because softball, I thought that was kind of your wheelhouse. And I think you enjoyed soccer, even though your experience in soccer is minimal.
Yeah.
Because you started your sophomore year?
Yeah, mostly because volleyball was way too political for me. So I played soccer starting sophomore year. I mean, I played a little bit when I was a kid. But then I was more into volleyball, softball, and basketball, even a little bit, even though basketball wasn't really my big thing growing up. But overall, even when I was younger, I still was very hesitant about sports. Because even I wanted to quit softball when I was younger, and then you guys motivated me and were like, I think you should try it, keep trying. And because I kept pulling myself down, but I've always been a self-doubter growing up. Even in high school, I was always a self-doubter, which really brought me down a lot in most days. But I think I started loving it more and more when I was growing up in Oregon. I started to enjoy it just because it was always fun. I was always outside playing in the dirt, getting dirty, which was always fun. And then just learning different fundamentals was always a lot of fun to me. And just learning because softball is a lot more complex. You have to know where you have to go. You have to know the next play. And so it made me work my brain all the time. So that was fun.
Yeah, it's a mental game for sure, because it's not just, okay, I got how you approach your batting.
Yes.
But your fielding, your base running, all that comes into play. And so, so for sure, and there's so much involved in that. And it's the same for baseball.
Yes.
But that sport has that, and it's a great sport. I enjoy softball probably more than baseball. Watching it, like, I really enjoy watching. Yeah,
I'll watch high school softball more than I'll watch just Major League Baseball, unless it's Savannah Bananas.
Right. You're sporting that today, so yeah. Savannah Bananas are at a whole other level, and it's a lot of fun if anybody ever gets a chance to see Savannah Bananas. All right, so let's talk about your experiences playing in both sports, okay? So let's talk about the differences that you noticed in high school between high school ball when you were playing in high school, and you played 2 years? Was it 2 years of travel ball? Or one?
2 years, and then one game they asked me to come play for, or one tournament they asked me to come play.
And you had a really good game that game, and then
I broke my hand.
And you broke your hand. Yeah, that sucks. So I remember watching that game, and I was like, we'll talk about that here in a second. Yeah. So let's talk about what is some of the biggest differences you noticed between high school and travel ball.
I feel like travel ball was more intense. You had more girls who they lived and breathed softball when it came to travel sports. I mean, not saying that high school you don't live and breathe softball, but the girls on the high school team, they're not always, outside of the games and practices. They're not always out there doing something. But travel ball, you are doing something in the summertime also. And so you're constantly working and trying to make yourself better.
Yeah, and I think there's some of that. And I think that with school sports, I think sometimes and then it's still like it's a fun thing. And when to me, and it should be, when you're coming up in rec league and all that stuff, it should all be about fun. And I think it should be about fun at travel ball too, but
Travel ball's more intense though.
It gets more intense in high school because you're at high school level. It was when you started to get into it. And so, yeah, it's more intense. The competition is, yeah.
You want to get first place.
Yeah.
Even if you lose one tournament, you're back-to-back games because you're trying to fight for that first place spot.
Yeah, and we can talk about the one tournament, the Moonlight Tournament.
Oh gosh, that was exhausting.
It was exhausting but fun. We'll talk about that one in a second. So yeah, those are some of your differences. What about some similarities you think? If there was any.
I mean, you're fighting for your spot in both. Because even high school, I believe it was my junior year, when they were telling us who was on varsity, who was on JV, they're just like, they pulled me and another girl aside. We're like, hey, you two are fighting for a spot on this team. You guys have to prove yourselves to make that spot so you guys have playing time, which I was like, that motivated me. I was like, okay, I'm willing to fight for the spot. And then same with travel ball, you have to fight for those spots to even play and push yourself. And I feel like that's a very big similarity. And then you're also playing to get better for not just yourself, but for your team.
Right. And for me, I think a benefit of travel ball versus rec ball at the time was the competition. For me, I was like, I wanted you to see other competition.
Yeah.
You, in rec ball, you were a decent player. But when you travel ball, it's a whole different game.
Oh yeah.
And so and it humbles you and I didn't, and for me and my mentality going to this, it was, I didn't care if you played that much. I wanted you to enjoy the experience and get around it, to see what it was going to be like when you started getting to high school. Mm-hmm. And things were, because it was going to be competitive in high school too.
Yes.
Because these good girls you're playing with and against played high school. So that was kind of my idea behind it. At least for me, like why I kind of wanted you to kind of at least do it, and had to make sure it was affordable. We had an affordable option.
Yes, we did.
And so it was kind of nice, for you, when you did play that first year, it was, majority of the girls were from another town, except for about 3 of you.
3 of us that were from Gooding. The rest of them were mostly Jerome Twin Falls.
Twin Falls girls. And how did that, playing with those girls, what was it like being with that versus girls you were in high school with that you were always around?
It was fun because I got to know other girls who loved the sport. It was I felt like it was more fun environment than high school because these are different girls than what you're used to. Because I go to school with the girls in Gooding. I know them mostly. And then the girls in Jerome and other stuff, like, I didn't know them very well. But I got to know them and enjoy them, being around them, playing with them. So I always thought that was really fun. And then you got to just see how other schools compete and how they have been coached and everything.
Yeah. And for me, it was a lot of fun. Being around those parents, for the most part, was fun. Yeah. Because we were all there, and I don't think any of us were like, our daughter should be playing or have unrealistic expectations. And I don't really having a negative experience.
Really those parents were that negative.
No, I don't think our kids that were working with us, mm-hmm. so that we had coaching with, because I thought it was a good experience, yeah. And we would travel together, camp together sometimes, and it was really good bonding. Now you're seeing in Gooding's done a pretty good job of this. They started developing their own travel ball, and travel ball is one of those things that kind of helps the coaches build their program a little bit, and I understand that. And I still think they probably do a pretty good job trying to keep it cost effective, because for economics, you can't do that. You can't price out your kids here, because a lot of, there's kids here that their parents are living paycheck to paycheck if they can get a paycheck.
Yeah.
So if you want to develop everybody, you want to give everybody an opportunity. That's what, to me, is the approach you have to this.
Yeah.
And rec ball, to me, is still something that is kind of getting squeezed out of this. And I think that's unfortunate, because the kids develop differently. And so I think that not everybody is going to be awesome right away at something. Some of these kids, they develop later on, but you got to give them an opportunity to play. And rec ball is perfect for that. So I think rec ball is something that unfortunately is kind of getting squeezed out a little bit because of travel ball. I still think there's a lot of importance to it. Okay, so we talked about some of the similarities. Let's focus more on high school. What is one of your favorite memories from high school softball?
You know my favorite memory.
Okay. So I'm gonna set a backstory to this,
Yes.
and then I'll let you talk about the high school. Okay, travel ball. Okay, there was a couple other Magic Valley teams, and one of the Magic Valley teams was composed of some players from our rival in high school, and so there was some intense games in the tournaments, and it was fun, and this will lead us to the midnight moonlight tournament because this will have a play into it.
Yeah.
So let's go to that moment before this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At the time when you were in travel ball, you were playing mainly first base.
Yeah, first base mostly, yeah.
So there was a play in that game where this girl, who we'll talk about later, okay, there was a play at first. You got the ball.
Yeah.
She kind of leaned in to turn the play.
Oh no, she full blown went towards me. She didn't even try to go for the back.
Yeah. And ran your ass over.
Yeah.
Okay. And anyways, I think you got the play. She got out, right?
She got out, yeah. I never collapsed or anything. I was still on, but my knee got messed up so bad from that play. Yeah,
so you made the play. She's out, all that. Your coach was, did his job.
Yeah.
Me, I do a really good job trying not to. I don't want to be a coach. I want to be a parent. So I try to separate myself.
Right.
And a lot of times, I would never sit behind the dugout or sit behind the backstop. I usually sat out in left field.
Yeah, you guys were pretty far from the
I stay away because I didn't want to be around my parents because I didn't want to hear whatever comments they had. I just wanted to watch the game and enjoy the game. And if I did have something to say, or your mom, it wasn't going to get out to somebody else. So, anyways, this play happened with this girl. This is now leads us to, and this story will come back full circle because the same tournament, we'll talk about something else. So let's talk about the moment in high school. Meet the same girl, her team. Okay, a lot of the same girls that you played against in this tournament.
Yeah, and I'll tell you guys a little about this rival. I mean, this team has been our rival since day one, really, since Gooding ever had it. Our Gooding had a team that was, we started softball way later than any of the other schools.
Yeah, we were the last softball in 4A, last team in 4As to get a team.
Yeah. And so this coach was always harping on our team all the time, the other coach.
Yeah.
There was one time he told us, Gooding can't even play softball on spell or whatever like that.
Right.
And so we always took that to heart. We were we were always, head, we were always butting heads with each other. But the one favorite thing that I had from high school was we were in Filer, we were playing, and there was a ball hit out I was playing right field at the time mostly because I was pretty good at tracking the balls and everything. And there was a ball that got hit. It was really, really close to the dirt and the field, so I had to chase that ball down. And I caught it, and then, because I don't think anybody really knows going to catch it because it was way over there, and I had to really dig deep down.
And you're not the fastest person.
No, I'm not fast at all. So I caught the ball, and then the girl that I had a rival with, she was, took off, and she had to come back, and I was able to toss it to the first base and got that double out, and it just felt so amazing. I was like,
oh yeah, it was a great play. And what was nice about it is that was your junior year.
Yeah.
And that was
our good year.
That was the year we got to state.
Yes, and we knew we were going to go to state our senior year too. We were hitting crazy.
We'll kind of talk about that. So, but in this particular play, she got off because I was one of the assistant coaches. I was in the dugout.
Yeah.
And it was she took off because she didn't think you were going to get it.
Wait, no, that was our sophomore year that we did that because Becca was first base.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Okay, so it was your sophomore year.
Yes, it was my sophomore year. It was the first year I was on varsity for reals because I only played varsity for district tournaments freshman year.
And so, anyways, she took off thinking that, you weren't going to get it.
Yeah.
Then you caught it and she got caught.
Yeah.
And you pull a double play. For an outfielder to get a double play it doesn't happen a whole lot. So it was an amazing moment. And for me, that was pretty cool. I would agree that for me, that was for a parent and a coach.
The best part was just the look she gave me.
Anyways, and who it was against, I'm sure. Well, let's talk more about playing in high school. How does it shape your confidence, or what were some things that you learned from playing with your team in high school?
We had an amazing coach when I was on varsity. He taught us a lot about leadership and being able to work as a team, which helped us a lot. I learned a lot about my leadership skills when we went to this tournament in Boise, the spring break tournament.
Yep.
We got to go stay at the military base, National Guard area over in Boise, and we had to do an obstacle course in teams, and I struggled. I hurt my arm so bad. I have a picture of how swollen my arm was, and I couldn't barely move it the next day. But I struggled the first thing that we did, and I just kept hurting myself, and I kept telling myself I couldn't, and then it just got worse and worse. And then after that one, we went along, and then there was a time that I got to be a leader in one of the things, and one of the soldiers pulled me aside, was like, "You would be an amazing leader." He's like, "You have got that great leadership skill that I haven't seen in anybody else." And I was like, "Oh, well, it's great to hear."
And I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, he
I was there.
aside,
That's awesome.
It was pretty cool to hear that from him, because he just was just like, you have the great leadership skills. And I was that player that wasn't very outgoing. Like, there's all these girls that were always very close with each other, always doing TikToks with each other, and I was kind of that mediator. Like, I got along with everybody, but I wasn't very outgoing. So, I mean, I learned compassion, and I've learned those leadership and just being able to work well in a team.
I agree with that. I think you were somebody that you didn't give a crap who the person was or what their status was.
Yeah, no. I mean,
you're still like that.
There would be girls that I would not very particularly care for, but I got along with them because I knew that's what I needed to do.
Yes, and that to me, that's the key to sports and team sports, is that regardless of your differences that you have, you don't have to go hang out with each other after the game. No. But you have to have enough respect for each other, and you got to be able to understand you guys are there for the same reason. And I think you guys figured that out.
Yes.
Especially your junior year. Mm-hmm. And your senior year, you guys are figuring it out too.
Yeah, I feel like I got more along with my team my senior year than ever before.
And unfortunately, COVID just took a big old dump on everybody. Yes. That was hard for everybody. I know it was for you, and I know it was for every single senior.
Yeah.
It
still bugs me to this day.
Yeah, I know, and it still bugs me. And that mentally, I think that took a toll on everybody. Yeah. I know it took a toll on our family. There was no closure.
No, it was just our last game was what, Declo?
Yeah.
And we were hitting like crazy.
You guys were krushing it. You guys had 5 or 6 home runs.
We knew that game. We're like, we're going to state. Like we worked so well together, and we were so strong as a team that we knew we were like, oh yeah, we got this in the bag.
Yeah, and what was crazy is we had everybody back.
Yes. We didn't have, it was everybody.
We had everybody back. Because we didn't have any seniors.
And we had a couple newbies come in, but.
We had some newbies, we had some freshmen.
But they all worked right in, well in with us.
Yeah, and that was the COVID. I mean, COVID in itself was just a crap show. It sucked for everybody, and it was bad. But looking at from a sports point of view for those kids, especially in the spring sport, because your fall sports, you had your fall sports, you had your senior day, you had your closure.
Yes, we had our graduation.
You had your graduation, but I mean, your fall sport that you did, soccer, you had a senior day. Yeah. Closure for me, your mom, for you on that sport, good. You didn't play winter sport, because that wasn't your thing.
Even though now I'm kind of like, I enjoy basketball now, but then I could care less.
Yeah. So, but we didn't have to do anything like that. Then softball was coming along, and it was exciting. Everybody was back. We, it's like, man, we got so much here. We're going. Yeah. Because your junior, we took second, lost to our rivals. We had beat them every game. Beat
them in district and everything.
Everything. Yeah. And it was a good game.
It was. It was only by like a point.
It was, yeah. Well, I think we lost by 4 runs, but it was frustrating because you guys were hitting the ball extremely well. It's just to them. Yes. It's just one of those games that...
It was one of those crappy games that just was not
and it wasn't like there was a lot of errors. Both teams played really well, and they found the gaps, and we didn't.
And it just made us flustered, which I feel like was a big thing in that game, is we all got really flustered, and we were not playing very well together.
So going back to that moment for you and me and everything with COVID kind of sucked. But softball, I think everything you said about what it developed you to be, and learning that story about when we went to the tournament down in Boise and being on the military base and getting that experience.
I also think he was just trying to recruit me too, though. They're trying to recruit me for forever, and I'm like, no.
Well, one of our assistant coaches was a recruiter.
Yeah, I have the highest respect for people in the military. I really do think that they really put their all out there. It's just not for me.
No, and that's fine. And yeah. So let's talk about me for a second. How did you feel about having me around in high school when I was coaching my freshman, sophomore, and junior year? I was around.
I was a punk teenager, let's be honest. I was a jerk. There would be times, I would get very humbled by, I think, Kurt Fleming one time, because he also coached his daughters and everything. And I remember I was kind of butting heads with you, and I kind of got frustrated because I was like, I don't want to listen to you right now. Because I was frustrated. And he pulled me aside. I was like, he's like, I'm a dad too. You need to listen to your dad and be respectful. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, I was, because I was a hot-headed teenager. I didn't like listening very much to my parents.
You're a typical teenager that didn't like to listen.
I'll listen to my coaches. It does not matter. You were one of my coaches.
You could not differentiate between me as a coach and a dad, and I get that. And so I think that's probably a challenge for most.
Yeah.
Most. I don't think we were unique to that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now,
it's not like, but when the moments that it mattered, when like we won that district tournament and everything, and having you there was just an amazing experience.
Yeah.
In general.
Oh yeah.
You were right there. It was just, it was fun.
It was fun. Yeah, that was a very memorable. That was, the double play was great.
Yeah.
Seeing you hit your first home run. That was awesome.
Home runs, but in high school though.
No, high school, like legit, like over the fence home runs.
Yeah.
And Gooding's fence is not short.
No, it's not. It's
a long fence. So when you hit one out of Gooding, you're crushing it. And we have players that could do that. And it was against Filer. That was the only game we did lose. You got a home run though. That was exciting. And then, that was a good moment. Let's shift our focus now to the travel ball. Just a couple of questions on that. We kind of talked about the competition level a little bit, how it was different. What was your most memorable tournament? What was the trip that you enjoyed the most? And it might be a little easier because you only played a few years. So what tournament or moment kind of was the best thing for you?
There was a couple tournaments. The Moonlight tournament was really fun. It was something different. It was a tournament that you started at like 1 a.m. and then you would go until like, I want to say it was like early morning, late morning that we would be done. When we did that tournament, you were exhausted by the end of it, but it was different because you were playing in darkness. All you had was the lights around you, and it's hard to see.
Yeah, if you're an outfielder, it is. You're an outfielder.
And I was kind of glad I wasn't an outfielder at the time because I was struggling.
It's a different thing. Like, I played under lights a little bit when I was in school because where I played, we had a lot of night games. Yeah, it's still, I struggle tracking my ball.
Yeah.
And with the lights. So, yeah. So the Moonlight or whatever tournament it was.
That one was really fun. We got second place, I think, and we lost one of the games, and we had to play back to back until like 12 o'clock the next day.
Yeah.
And we
actually was in the Constellation. So championship was what it was. So it wasn't, did we win that tournament or was it the Constellation thing? Or did we come all the way back and win it?
We got second place because we got to the.
It was what got us to second place. Okay, so
because we went against our rivals. It was
the team same team.
Same team.
Yeah, Magic Valley team. So when you play those Moonlight tournaments, if you end up in that losers bracket, it's not very favorable to your time you're playing.
That's not.
So, and it wasn't just us exhausted, and I wasn't even coaching. I was just a parent, but you girls were exhausted, especially the semifinal game, because that was the game against the rivals and that we won.
Yeah.
And because that's who we lost to.
Well, that was also the same. There was also another thing that happened on that game when one of our players got like freaking kicked in the head while the girl was trying to jump over her head, but I think she was purposely trying to kick her.
I don't know. Yeah.
It was this whole thing.
Yeah. So
it was just rough.
Yeah. So I remember in that game or that tournament, and fortunately we had my cousin or our cousin lived there, and so we were able to stay so we get some sleep. I didn't have to get a hotel or anything, so I saved us money. But I remember when after the round robin and stuff like that, and when we got placed. We had lost to this team earlier, and had to come back around. And so coming back around, it was the semifinal game, close game, and we ended up winning that game. And you guys put all your energy into that game. And after that game, I always looked at you guys because all of a sudden you had to turn around and play because it was like at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And you had a
we
game
were
like at
done.
midnight or something. So you had about 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Yeah, we were.
And so you guys are exhausted. So then you come back, play that, and then you had to turn around as soon as you got done with that game and play the championship game.
Mhm.
Or that other team, they got to sit down and kind of wait for you guys.
Yeah.
So, they got a good night's sleep. They're there at 9 a.m, ready to go.
Yeah.
Where you guys, 9, 10, where you guys had just played, a game at 7 a.m. or whatever. So I remember, and so you guys, it took a second. So that was a good tournament.
Yeah.
The Bear Lake tournaments were fun.
I love the Bear Lake tournaments just because we got to camp and be around each other all the time, and we were, bonding a lot.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of fun.
It was good. All the parents are there with their tents or RVs or whatever, and we all huddled around each other, and it was fun.
And that was another time I did a double play in the outfield and right field because it was when I was playing with Gooding.
Yeah, when Gooding had our team.
Yeah, and there was, I think it was, what town was that? It was somewhere down there.
Yeah, I'm not sure that team was.
But they were like butthurt.
Yeah.
They lost. Yeah. But because I was playing first place and I know they were kind of struggling in the outfield. And so our coach moved me out there because one of the other girls was like, hey, we need somebody who can actually track the ball out here.
Yeah.
And so she mentioned me and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll go out there. Like, I'm down. So they put me on right field and I caught the ball and this girl tried to tag up and run all the way there and I threw it all the way to Jamie.
Yeah.
She caught it and got her out. That was my other double play in the outfield. I was like,
yeah. That one was a fun play. That was a good moment. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about a little bit about family and coaching. Mm-hmm. Having me as your dad and coach, what was there ever a time you wish that I was just the dad and not the coach?
Not necessarily. Okay. I think I enjoyed having parents as a coach, even both you and mom. Because it was, there were times that, but yet again, I got that when I was playing other sports, like soccer. I didn't have you guys, because you guys didn't know the sport very well. But I had to literally teach you guys the sport.
Right.
But no, I don't think I ever really had a time that I didn't want you guys there, because you guys were there supporting me.
Yeah.
And so it was more of like a support thing. I saw more of a support thing than anything else.
Okay. All right. What would be your advice to younger softball players who are juggling maybe high school and travel ball or just in general? What advice would you give to I'm not going to say you if you're younger, because that's just stupid. To me, that's stupid because you can never go back. What would be your advice to younger softball players who are coming up that are right now maybe at that point where they're not in high school yet or middle school? What's your advice to them?
Learn to balance things. I did a lot of things in high school. I did FFA, choir, and all the sports. And I did it on top of softball. There was a game one time that I literally just won a game and had to go straight in. I had my stuff still, like my blackout still on.
That's the perfect picture too.
Right into choir, and I had the dress on, but it still looked like I just got out of the game. Just learn to balance it. Learn to balance everything. Even top of school, you always have to be on top of your grades as well if you want to play and you want to be at that higher level. So if you learn to balance that, and then also just never get down on yourself. I always got down on myself as a kid, and I think it affected my playing a whole lot. I think that's kind of the reason why I didn't want to play college ball, was because I always got down on myself.
And I think part of that falls on me or on coaches. I follow some other coaches and stuff and mental coaches and stuff in the sports. And I think one thing that coaches do, and I think this goes with girls sports, boys get it too, but boys' brains are built differently than guys.
And I can still see boys still struggling. Even watching Ted Lasso, I could see it.
Yeah.
It made me understand it a lot more.
Yes. And so mental health, I'm just saying the wiring a little bit. So I think that we're always like, dust it off and go. I don't think coaches a lot of times don't do a good enough job explaining you how to deal with it.
Yeah. I know they were really trying to implement that my junior year on trying to help us with our mental health when it came to that.
Yeah, I know the mental toughness and stuff like that. I know Coach Patterson was big on that, and he was trying. And so I think there is a lessons for coaches who need to go learn the psychological sports psychology of that to be better. we can have you guys navigate through those slumps in softball, but like in any sport.
So I had a lot of slumps. There was a time that I couldn't hit for forever.
Yeah.
And it really got to my mental health. So I was like, wow, I used to be such a great hitter and I can't seem to get out of this thing. And it's really affecting me, the way I'm playing.
And it happens. But I think for me and me looking back, doing a better job of navigating and trying to teach you how to get through that. And not just you, but anybody who ever struggles.
Right.
So, yeah. All right. We're going to do some fun stuff and we're going to wrap it up with mascot of the week. Okay. So, yeah, you get to be a part of that. So, all right, let's do this. So, if you could go back and relive one game or moment, which would it be?
Honestly, when we got district, I think that game, if I could relive that moment, that was like one of my favorite moments.
Yeah. Districts, I say, yeah.
I mean, it makes me emotional thinking about it, but yeah,
it was so much.
But not just that, but because the support I had then, I had a lot of support, and it just thinking of the people back then supporting me, it was just great.
Yeah. Did you have any superstitions or rituals you did before games?
The team had some. We had the stupid stirrups one time, and they're just like, we can't wash the stirrups. So it doesn't make any sense to me. And so I wasn't really one of those kind of superstition people. I never really got into that. I think the only time that I ever had a superstition was my stupid Under Armour stuff. I wouldn't wash it. That was it.
Yeah.
That was like only 1 year, and then I was like, this is stupid. But a lot of girls do have those superstitious stuff.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of teams do. And I was not that person.
Give me one or two that you just thought, what the hell? Like, or you don't have to call names of the person, but like, was there anyone on your team like, at any time in your life?
There was a couple girls. So, I won't name the names, but I mean, there was one girl that was pretty crazy though. But I remember there was a time that they're just like, hey, we got like districts coming up, we can't wash our jerseys. And we're just like, what? I just, because my feet in general really stink. So if I don't wash my socks, I'm screwing everybody else over. Everybody knew my feet stunk.
Yeah.
I had to wash my stuff because I knew if I didn't, I didn't want to be stinky.
Okay. That's a good one. Yeah. All right. Finish this sentence. Softball taught me
leadership and compassion.
There you go. Good. Yeah. Lightning round. Favorite softball drill?
We had the tennis balls. The tennis balls when we had to throw them and have them hit her head and bounce off her head. I thought those were kind of fun because you're just I wasn't really scared of the ball anyways, but some girls would be scared. And I'm like, oh, I can do this. Right. And also the running back drills were really fun too. We did running back drills.
Explain the running back drill.
Somebody would throw the ball and you'd have to be able to learn how to turn one way or the other really quickly so you can get the ball.
Oh, yeah, kind of like a wide receiver.
Wide receiver, yeah. Whatever one you call it. I thought we called it running back drill, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, basically it was for outfielders to learn how to track the ball.
Yeah, and I was really good at tracking the ball anyways, but it helped me understand how to move my feet really quickly to be able to transition that.
Yeah.
That was a fun one, too.
Favorite pump-up song? Or walk-up song, I guess. Either one. And it kind of sucked because we
didn't really do a whole lot.
We didn't, but if you had to, and you had the opportunity to have a walk-up song, what would it have been?
Gosh. Probably an Eminem song. I can't remember what it's called. Like, one moment you'll capture it, don't let it slip. The heck is that called? The Mom's Spaghetti song. What is that song called?
Lose Yourself?
Yes.
Okay, Lose Yourself? Okay.
That would have been a good one because the beginning of it is just that kind of building up.
That build up? Yeah.
And I'm a big Eminem fan anyway, so.
Yeah. Favorite post-game meal? If you, after a game, what would be your favorite meal? I know you didn't really have sometimes a choice, and that was like sometimes just...
Honestly, coming home to a pot of spaghetti was really good.
Okay.
Yeah, just because people are always like, you want to get those carbs in you anyways, and I felt like spaghetti was a good way to get those carbs in to kind of get your energy up for the next day. So honestly, spaghetti always just hit the spot for me.
All right. Funniest moment on the field?
It was in rec ball, and I kind of felt bad for the umpire, but he got hit in the nuts.
I remember that.
He was walking around cussing at me, and Aubrey just could not stop laughing. We felt so bad.
And I remember who our catcher was.
Yeah.
And it, at this level, it was like league. So it was like
I think it was the beginning of A-League.
yeah. And it was like she didn't drop the ball.
No.
And the ball went in between her and it bounced right up and caught the guy.
But he was just walked up
Yeah,
down
he
the
was
first
so-
baseline cussing.
He was pissed. And he was pissed. And rightfully so.
Yeah.
I think it's just like, dude, your job as a catcher is not to let the ball. But
Yeah, no, and I felt
that's-
bad, but it was just
it
so
was
funny
fine.
because he was just
Yeah.
cussing all down that line.
all right. Okay. So that's it. That's it for that's it.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you doing this. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have you on again whenever you want. Let's go to mascot of the week.
Okay.
You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. We are going to Missouri, Columbia, Missouri. Okay. Big town. At least big for us. 126,000 people. Cost of a home in this town is $451,000. So it's up there. Your rentals run over 1,000. Columbia, Missouri is located about halfway between Kansas City and St. Louis on I-70. Okay. So it's kind of smack dab in the middle. There are 6 colleges that have active college programs in Columbia. 10 colleges located with 30 miles of Columbia. It is like the college central. So some of these colleges are University of Missouri, Columbia College, Stephens College, are some of these colleges that are in the area. And it is known as being College City and the center of learning. One of the fun things is odd laws. And for example, you're not allowed to dry clothes in a line in Columbia.
So you can't like dry clothes outside and on a clothesline?
That's what they were saying, but it was perfectly fine to drape them on a fence. So you couldn't put them on a clothesline. But you could, I don't know. It's one of those weird laws that they had, and I'm sure it's, yeah.
There's a lot of weird laws out
Yeah.
there, but yeah, that's...
Yeah, that was a weird one. So we're going to talk about Hickman High School. Okay, Hickman High School has an enrollment of 2,000. Okay, their student-to-teacher ratio is 17-1.
Okay.
This school was founded in 1914. At the time, it was called Columbia High School, but then it became Hickman High School. And they are named after a naked baby comic cutout that was popular like in the 80s. It was the Cutie Pies. Kewpie. Cutie Pies.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's an adult-sized baby is their mascot. Very, you see, so if I...
Makes me think of the greased-up deaf guy.
Yeah. Now, this is just like it was like a ball baby, but it became so popular they made like actual dolls of these things back in the 30s and 40s, and yeah, it was crazy. So the story behind this is that. So let me see if I can find it here. Let's see here. To mark the 100th anniversary of the Cutie Pies, Missourians took a closer look at the history of the unique mascot. After 100 years of Cutie Pie, nickname players, teachers, coaches, alumni took immense pride in the naked baby. Even the students who has to wear a big baby head to enjoy the role on the sidelines. And for mascots, watch video interviews. You can watch video interviews on YouTube.
I can't even when you're thinking of like a giant baby, I don't think of I think of a grown ass man in a diaper.
No, it's not.
I can't think of
it's like a cute little cartoon. It looks like a baby doll.
Okay.
So it's it was like a doll, but it was like a comic.
Yeah.
And
which I get. Yeah, it's just in my mind, I can't stop picturing.
So this person, Charlie Blackmore, was known as Mr. Cutie Pie, whereas a Cutie Pie loudly and proudly. Blackmore is the mastermind behind the CutiePie.net, and it's a website loaded with information about the high school. Let's see. In search of high school mascots, there's no other Cutie Pies out there, but there is a broader search. You'll find an Australian club soccer team that uses the mascot, as well as a nun in Illinois who used the Cutie Pie doll to help her teach biology. Okay, these illustrations were in the early 1900s by artist and writer Rose O'Donnell for a comic strip. Cutie Pies dolls gained popularity as paper cutouts and were started being manufactured as toy dolls in the 20s. Decades later, the dolls were in high demand, mass-produced with plastic and rubber. Today, early versions are rare and highly desired antique dolls collectors. So the story about this school and this mascot is that the mascot dates back to a basketball game held in 1913. The school secretary owned one of the popular dolls and placed the doll at the center court before the basketball game. Not only did the doll survive the entire game unscathed, but the team won. And since then, it was considered a good luck charm.
So that's like a superstitious thing.
Yeah, it's a serious superstition. Cutie Pies was adopted as the school's official mascot over the years. It's had several different versions of the mascot, costume. Some of them look kind of The school has a mascot for sporting events and meet and greets for special visitors. And even our former president, Ronald Reagan, is photographed with the Hickman's Cutie Pie mascot. So there you go, the Cutie Pies of Hickman High School in Missouri. So again, I want to thank Kelley for joining us and joining me today for this episode. And just want to let everybody know that on the episodes, there is a text thing where you can actually send comments back. So when you go into whatever you listen to, look under the description of the episode. You'll see something for a link to the show, the webpage, and text. And I want to thank everybody who's been listening. We've had over 30 cities, of at least one person listening from 30 cities. So that's been pretty cool. So I appreciate everybody listening. Hope you continue to listen, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot.